What is up, my fellow freebie-seeking YouTuber, commenting troll nerds, kind of like me, that like to write on hand by note cards, and you know what? For some weird, odd reason, search on YouTube, not the latest, cancellation attempt of Andrew Huberman, the frickin' weirdo who, I don't know, a Stanford PhD guy that, had like 6 girlfriends at once, frickin' psycho. That guy teaches stuff about basically time management. And if you have 6, girlfriends at the same time that think that you are exclusive with them, then you know what? That guy is worth listening to because he knows time management. But anyway, I'm not gonna riff on Andrew Huberman, that freaking over-optimized robot, nor am I gonna riff on Lex Friedman, the other freaking programmer robot that everyone has their panties in a bunch about because they think he's a great podcaster for some reason. What I'm going to share with you today is an actual real-life look at what it takes to spend your days reading, writing, thinking, taking notes the old way, the analog way, the best way. So literally all week, I've been just sitting here at my desk writing, and what I'm writing is going to make up and comprise my next book. And I'm not going to reveal what my next book is. I'm going to reveal it to those of you who are shitweasels on my email list. And I'm going to tell you what my next book is. Okay, so for all of you YouTube freebie-seeking shitweasels, you don't get to know or find out. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, I have been just writing like a frickin' maniac all week, just sitting on my ass on this beautiful chair with this nice, lovely cushion there, yellow cushion, and just writing by hand. And writing basically the intro section, the first part of my new book, and I've been doing it the old school way, the analog way, and using my anti-net Zettelkasten. So what I've decided to do is flip the camera around and not just frickin' rant about some, YouTube podcaster, Andrew Huberman, programmer type people. I'm going to actually show you what a day in the life is like for those who want to spend their days reading, writing, thinking, taking notes, and making a freaking hell of a living. I make over $20,000 writing one thing a month, the old school way, the analog way. And I'm in this office in Southern, California, this nice area. I'll just flip this around. And I have this, freaking library-like office with just surrounded by books. And, I'm surrounded. Other people on my floor are, lawyers, accountants, and just do boring shit. Like, no one grew up saying, you know what, I want to be like a notary public for a living. Like, what the hell? That's wasting the life, right? I actually get to spend my days doing what I love. I get to read, write, think, take notes, write by hand, write my ass off, and create work that I'm proud of. And not be an obsidian bubble graph boy that just dicks around all day and figures out how to optimize his life by creating cool new metadata conventions or, I don't know, finding VS Code extensions and all that bullcrap, okay? So I'm going to show you actually how it's done. Anyway, it's time to flip this frickin' camera around and show you how to actually think, okay, without using FAP GPT and being an idiot. All right, so what I've been writing, here's the extent of it. Look at this frickin' beast. This is just the first section. I've been writing out what I call an impeccable origin story. An impeccable origin story is basically a framework that sort of follows the hero's journey, but also I've extracted this framework, a 27-part framework, from these books on writing. And then also it incorporates, basically mass persuasion. Mass persuasion is another term for marketing. So I've extracted frameworks from here. And I'm writing this insane freaking origin story that that basically once I finish writing it is going to create an actual rabid hyena psycho group of new fans and followers of just people, fellow readers and all that stuff. So I'm not going to get into the 27-point framework. I talk about that in issue number 9, 10, 11 of the Scott Shepherd letter. It's on my desk. I have issue number 11 of the Scott Shepherd letter. I'm going through it, and basically reteaching myself it as I write the intro for my new book. Okay. And anyways, I got to this part as I was writing it. I'm going to just show you. So there's this concept in The Heroes with a Thousand Faces, the belly of the whale or belly of the beast. And it's this point in a story where it's kind of like in Star Wars where they get into the Death Star and they land in that sewage, that complete dump, and there's that serpent there, and like they're slogging around in the pit of the enemy, this pit of despair. It's like the belly of the whale, or like Jonah of the Bible. There's this perennial common thread that is like very powerful through all stories. You can probably find the belly of the whale in Lord of the Rings and all of this. So I have been writing I was writing this section, and I just want to show you what happened. So I started out with belly of the whale, and the card is 5250A/3/19, okay? And then, the next part 2, I'm writing about it. You get to 19/2, 19/3. So here's something I want to show you. Now, this is something Lumen did, okay? Nicholas Lumen did this, and so I'm writing about this. I remember thinking how I, hit by a rhino, okay? And I put this 3A. Now, you can't probably see, but that 3A is in green. I used my green pen, my Mont Blanc Beatles edition, which has green ink in it, and I wrote 3A right there. And this is something you'll see on Lumen's card. He'll have, in red, he'll have, like, number A, or usually, like, A, So what that tells me is, so right here in this paragraph, it tells me that I want to insert something. What do I want to insert? Well, I'm going to show you that. What I want to insert is actually the card after that, which is 5250A/3/19/3A. And you see how that 3A, that is in green. So what that tells me to do is, right here, I'm going to insert this card. So this is basically introduces a way for you to insert paragraphs between things that, if you're using like a commonplace book or a Moleskine journal or whatever, it's kind of hard to do, and I write on a monthly basis on a yellow legal pad, and I usually have to like draw, a notation like on the next page, CA. So it works really naturally when you're using an anti-net Zettelkasten to do this. And so when you're writing books or long pieces of stuff that you'll evolve over time, I recommend using, note cards in this anti-net Zettelkasten process to do so. Now, I would be remiss if I did not end this video by shilling something. And so, since my last name is Schepper and ends in SCHEPER, I spell shill with a C. So SCHILL. I'm going to shill something. You see, I've just finished writing issue number 16. This is the draft of the Scott Schepper letter. And in it, I go through the entire framework and system for how I extract and build knowledge frameworks out of the books I read. And so it's something similar to kind of syntopical reading that Mortimer J. Adler talks about in his book called How to Read a Book. Best frickin' book title ever. So Mortimer J. Adler talks about syntopical reading. Well, he talks about it. He gives like a brief paragraph description of it, but he does jack shit in actually explaining it. And actually, Mortimer J. Adler used note cards, old school stuff. That's probably why he was such a prolific scholar. And, he didn't dick around all day with Obsidian and creating, Notion templates and, farting around on Twitter like all of the, digital writing bros out there. He actually developed knowledge the old way, like the movement of people that I've created. And he did things the old way. So anyways, I show in detail in issue number 16 of the Scott Schepper letter precisely how that's done. So if you are a psycho like me, and if you're crazy and you want to actually live a life where, you don't just do boring grown-up bullshit jobs like most people, like 99.99% of people, and you want to read, write, think all day, and also make $20,000 a month, and if you want to learn how to actually do this stuff with diagrams in the anti-net Zettelkasten. And by the way, all this material is stuff that is probably going to go in the second edition of my best-selling book, Anti-Net Zettelkasten. That's the first edition. So all this material that you get with my newsletter is going to come out in the second edition, which is probably going to be released, I'd say, like 2 years from now. So if you want to get all of the latest, greatest, best material on AKD, aka Analog Knowledge Development, then frickin' pick up issue number 16 of the Scott Shepherd letter, subscribe, and just be a badass. That is the moral of this story. So the bottom line, before I conclude and end this video, is this. Always remember to stay crispy, my friend. Peace.